Hey everyone! So this is going to be a short video, yay! I promise, because I literally don't have it in me to do a long one. But this is a direct follow-up and an unintentional one from my video last time where I was talking about self-compassion with chronic illness. And now we're going to talk about compassion, showing your self-compassion specifically throughout the journey that is chronic illness. So basically, for some background of why this came up, last night I had like a virtual game night with my friends, which was awesome. And in my mind, like I knew I was going to go to bed later than I normally would, but whatever, I thought. So I decided in advance, obviously, to sleep in a bit more because with epilepsy, sleep is one of the most important things for your brain. And just like in general, it's good for your brain if you get sleep, if you get adequate sleep, enough sleep, good quality sleep, all the things you can get, all the best parts of sleep you can get are going to be beneficial for you, but especially if you have epilepsy. And I knew this, so again, like I set my alarm a little bit later than normal. I'm one of those like psycho morning people, and I usually get up at 5. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll set it for like an hour and a half later. And I went to bed like around 11, which is like about an hour and a half after I normally go to sleep. And I woke up at 6:30 and felt like I was dying, like going through the process of death and rebirth, like similar to if you've ever like gone out partying one night and like you party really hard and then you have to like do something early in the morning. You're like, oh God, like how? No, it's like, why, how? But you just like have to, and you're like dragging yourself out of the tomb that is your body. And like literally I was just like, I can't do it. So I slept in for another hour. And still the entire day have felt like absolute death, just like death, like not good. And like it kind of got a little bit better, and then, but like I'm not 100% like still, and it is 3:38 p.m. Like I am still not feeling that great, to be honest. And it just like made me think about it as I was just outside on a brief walk, that like we really have to show ourselves compassion for the journey, because as I was walking, and I like to do these like check-ins with myself, like see how tiny Megan, inner Megan, is feeling about life and things in general, especially because there is so much like background sort of brain chatter that always goes on, that I feel like if we sort of don't check in with ourselves, there can be a lot that we might be unintentionally saying and absorbing and taking on and taking in that we don't realize. So I was like, oh, hey, tiny Megan, like how's it going? How are you feeling? And like the thing that really came up for me when I did that check-in was like that tiny Megan felt like, oh, well, you're really disappointed because you had all this plan of like what to do for the day, and like we couldn't really do anything because we slept the whole morning, and then we took another nap, and like just like have to squeeze in so much work into a shorter period of time, which means that we cut out a lot of other stuff, like going on a walk, morning workout, all this stuff, because like I don't feel physically well enough to work out today. Like it would not go well. Like I can feel it in my bones, like quite literally my bones hurt. But like I was thinking about that, and I was like, wow, like have I been telling myself, and this is a thing that I've been struggling with for a long time, because anyone who knows me knows I am very type A. Like I love getting stuff done. My best friend bought me a planner for Christmas last year, and I loved it. I still have it. Actually, I have not thrown it out yet because it's such a good planner, even though I have a new planner. Like there's no purpose for this, but I love like making to-do lists, checking off things like as I do them. I love getting things done. Like I get like a high off of it. I'm like, whoo, look how productive I'm being. It's amazing. So there is this like, even though I might not directly say it, there is this like feeling of disappointment or like being bummed out from not being able to do the things I want. And I'm sure that that's the case with a lot of people who have any kind of chronic health problem. Even if it's not like 100 things, if it's anything, like if there's something you want to do and you can't do it because you're having a health problem that's outside of your control, that is frustrating. That is super frustrating, because you have this whole like image in your mind of like how your day's gonna go, and your body's like, what if instead we felt horrible all day? And you're like, oh, no, that's fine. No, thanks. And your body's like, no, we're gonna feel horrible actually. And you're just like, well, fuck me, I guess. Like, it's annoying. It's very frustrating. So I don't really have any like big tips or keys on advice. Like, definitely check in with yourself, like see if there's any of that kind of feeling, but just give yourself compassion for the journey that is, I am finding out every step of the way, chronic illness or chronic health problems. Because in my experience, at least with myself, it's not always linear. Like, overall, I would say for me personally, like, things are getting better for sure, but definitely not always linear. It's not like, oh, yesterday was like right here. It was like, okay, so tomorrow's gonna be better and better and better. Like, it's not always like that. And that can be very frustrating, but it's, again, like, not always your fault. If there is something, like whatever health problem you have, if it's something that is triggered by certain things, knowing those things is very useful. And like I said in my last video, like keeping track of, you know, your diet, what you're like literally what you're eating, how you're sleeping, like everything that you can about yourself, what your mood is, what your activities are, like anything, any information you can gather about yourself, very, very useful, because then you can look back on these things. And for me, like literally nothing happened. Like, I didn't drink at all yesterday. I just went to bed an hour later and then got 2.5 hours more of sleep, and my body still was like, nope, hard pass. And it's like, okay, great. And I think for me, it's definitely just like times when I have stress. Like, stress is the absolute biggest trigger for me. I could have any combination of the other things. I could go out drinking and stay up late and wake up early, but not have any stress in my life, or have like a very low level of stress in my life and be perfectly fine. Like, I might be like a little bit hungover, but like in terms of epilepsy symptoms, be fine. I cannot do those things if I am stressed out. And that is frustrating. I mean, not really, because I don't really drink that much anymore. But like the fact that I can just go to bed an hour later, and because I have a high level of stress and anxiety in my life right now, then my brain decides that we're going to feel horrible for an entire day. Like, that's frustrating. But I have committed to being a supportive teammate to my body and to my brain. So on days like today, I do all the things that I can think of that make sense for my body. Like, what does my body need? What would help? And try to do as many of those things as possible. And then also just cut myself some slack of like, okay, yes, we had planned on doing all of these things during the day. Looks like that is not going to happen. So what can we cut out? What do we need to cut out, or it will be harmful? And what do we absolutely have to get done? And how can we go about doing it in a way that's not going to make the situation worse? So that is, I guess, my main advice of just like, it is frustrating. It's absolutely frustrating, and that's a valid feeling, but try to be kind to yourself as well, because being mad at yourself is not going to solve it. And it could be a thing where it's like, you're awesome one day you're not. And sometimes there seems to be a logical reason for it, sometimes not. But like, that's just sort of part of the thing sometimes. And again, every condition, every body is different, but try to give yourself a little bit of a break and a big old self-hug on the days when your brain, body, whatever decides that it's not going to have a good day, because it's already a bad day. Don't make it worse. Thanks for listening. Bye.